Did you know that most department store bikes are actually labeled as toys and aren't even safety rated for real jumps or skatepark use? If you're looking to get your 10-year-old a bike that can actually handle a curb jump without falling apart, you are in the right place. Today we are breaking down the absolute best BMX bikes on the market, specifically scaled for 10-year-olds, ensuring they get the right geometry, weight, and durability to actually learn tricks. We're going to compare the top contenders so you can see exactly where to spend your money and where you might be overpaying for a name. All the links are in the description below, so let's jump right into the rankings. 8. WEIZE Freestyle BMX Bike. The WEIZE Freestyle BMX Bike is a heavy-duty entry-level powerhouse that immediately sets itself apart by including professional-grade features like a 360-degree rotor system and 4 steel pegs right in the box. When you compare this to other entry-level models, the value is undeniable because those extras usually cost an additional $40 to $50. The core of this bike is a robust high-tensile steel frame paired with massive 2.4-inch tires, which are significantly wider than the standard 2.0-inch tires found on cheaper alternatives. This extra width creates a massive cushion for landings, making it much more forgiving for a 10-year-old who is just learning to hop off curbs. However, there is a trade-off. At 33 pounds, this is one of the heaviest bikes on our list. In a side-by-side comparison with the Mongoose Legion L20, the WEIZE feels much bulkier because it uses a one-piece forged steel crank rather than a sleek 3-piece chromoly setup. While the WEIZE offers incredible out-of-the-box trick capability with those included pegs, a smaller 10-year-old might struggle to pull the front end up for a manual or bunny hop compared to lighter models. Do you think your rider would prefer the extra stability of fat tires, or would they benefit more from a lighter frame? Let me know in the comments. The 3216T gearing is a bit old school and larger than modern micro drives, but for a beginner, it provides a very predictable and steady power transfer. It's an exceptional choice for a kid who wants to look like a pro at the park without you having to buy a bunch of separate accessories. Just keep in mind that the weight means they'll be getting a real workout while they practice those spins. 7. Cubsala Freestyle BMX Bike. If the weight of the previous bike concerned you, the Cubsala Freestyle BMX Bike is a breath of fresh air, coming in at a much more manageable 26.5 pounds. This weight difference is huge for a 10-year-old because it allows them to maneuver the bike with much less effort. When we compare the Cubsala to the WEIZE, we see a shift in philosophy. While the WEIZE is built like a tank for impact, the Cubsala is engineered for accessibility and ease of use. It uses 2.35-inch high-volume tires, which still provide that great meat for the road, but the overall geometry is tighter and more responsive for smaller riders. One thing to watch out for is that while it looks like a stunt bike, the one-piece crank and single-wall rims mean it isn't quite ready for the massive 5-foot drops at a pro skatepark. It bridges the gap between a sidewalk bike and a true stunt machine perfectly. Compared to a high-end rival like the Mongoose L20, you're missing out on the 25/9 T-cassette hub, which means the Cubsala has a larger front sprocket that could potentially get in the way during certain tricks. However, for a parent looking for a stylish, well-built starter bike that arrives 85% pre-assembled, this is a winner. It even includes the tools you need. What do you guys think? Is a lighter bike always better for a beginner, or do you prefer the heavy-duty feel of a steel frame? Drop a comment below. The Cubsala is all about building confidence through handling, making it a fantastic first real BMX for a kid transitioning away from their little kid bike. 6. KORIMEFA Freestyle BMX Bike. The KORIMEFA Freestyle BMX Bike takes the best parts of a beginner bike and adds a pro flair with its included gyro rotor system and axle pegs. In a direct comparison with the Cubsala, the KORIMEFA offers more specialized trick functionality because of that 360-degree handlebar rotation. If your 10-year-old is obsessed with watching YouTube videos of bar spins and tail whips, this is a major selling point because the brake cables won't get tangled. The 2.09-inch tires are slightly narrower than the WEIZE or cubsala, which actually makes the bike feel a bit faster and more agile on smooth pavement. When you look at the build quality, it holds its own against competitors like the HILAND by offering a more complete accessory package as standard. However, it does share the same limitation of a one-piece carbon steel crank, which is heavier and less robust for long-term, high-impact use than the three-piece cranks you'll find as you move up the price ladder. It also has a weight limit of about 143 pounds, so unlike the WEIZE, this isn't a bike that an adult can hop on for a quick ride. The assembly is a highlight here, as it arrives 90% pre-assembled, which is a dream for parents who aren't mechanically inclined. It's a sturdy, stylish, and practical investment for building confidence. Do your kids prefer doing tricks on flat ground or hitting the ramps at the park? I'd love to hear about their progress. This bike is the perfect middle ground option for a family that wants a stunt-ready package without the premium price tag of a professional brand. 5. Mongoose Legion BMX Bike. Now, we are moving into the big leagues with the Mongoose Legion series, specifically the L20 model. This isn't just a BMX-style bike, it's a foundational pillar of the freestyle world. The biggest difference you'll notice when comparing the Legion to the previous three bikes is the drivetrain. While the others use large 32T or 36T sprockets, the Mongoose L20 uses a professional-style 25x9 T micro gearing system. This isn't just for looks, it makes the bike much lighter and provides significantly more ground clearance, which is vital if your kid starts doing grinds or dropping into bowls. Comparing the Legion to a budget bike like the Kent 2 Cool is like comparing a sports car to a golf cart. The Legion uses standardized parts like a threadless, sealed integrated headset and aluminum U-brakes that are actually worth maintaining and upgrading over time. One downside is that it usually doesn't come with a 360-degree gyro, meaning the cables can still tangle, but the steering is much smoother and more precise. The wide 2.3-inch tires offer a massive landing platform, and the geometry is correct for learning real skills. It is slightly heavier than a full chromoly pro bike because it uses a high-tensile steel frame, but it's built to take the punishment of a learning curve. If you want a bike that feels like a professional tool rather than a toy, this is the one. Does your kid care more about the brand name or the specific features of the bike? Let me know. The Legion offers immense value by providing a real BMX feel that fosters genuine skill development. 4. HILAND 20-inch 3/5 spoke BMX Bike. The HILAND 20-inch BMX is probably the most visually striking bike on this list, and it will definitely make your kid the talk of the neighborhood. The standout feature here is the choice of 3-spoke or 5-spoke integrated magnesium alloy wheels. In a world of traditional steel spokes, these mag wheels offer a high-tech look and reduced wind resistance. When you compare the HILAND to the Mongoose Legion, the focus is clearly different. While Mongoose focuses on the drivetrain and pro geometry, HILAND focuses on wow factor and aesthetic appeal with its vacuum-coated oil-slick paint options. It still packs the essential freestyle features like a 360-degree gyro and 4 steel pegs, but it uses a more traditional 36T/16T gearing and a one-piece crank. At 33 pounds, it's a bit of a heavyweight, similar to the WEIZE, mostly due to those solid alloy wheels and the thick steel frame. This weight might make high-air tricks a bit harder, but the 2.35-inch high-volume tires provide excellent stability for beginners who are just trying to find their balance. It doesn't come with a kickstand, which is standard for true freestyle bikes, but something to keep in mind for casual use. It's an eye-catching starter machine that builds confidence through its stable geometry. What do you think of those mag wheels? Cool retro vibe, or do you prefer the classic spoke look? Tell me in the comments. For parents, it provides great value by delivering a pro-look bike with functional freestyle parts at a very competitive price. 3. JOYSTAR 20-inch Kids BMX Bike. The JOYSTAR 20-inch Kids BMX is the perfect, safe entry point for a 10-year-old who is moving away from coaster brakes, learning to use handbrakes. Unlike many of the more aggressive bikes on this list, the JOYSTAR features a dual handbrake system, front and rear calipers, which is excellent for teaching speed control. When you compare this to the Mongoose Legion, the JOYSTAR is much more of a neighborhood cruiser with a BMX soul, rather than a dedicated skatepark machine. It lacks the micro-drive and three-piece cranks of higher-end models, but it makes up for it with parent-friendly features like an included kickstand, a bell, and 85% pre-assembly. The 2.125-inch pneumatic tires are comfortable for sidewalks and dirt paths, and the adjustable saddle means the bike can actually grow with your child over a few years. It's also worth noting the weight limit is around 100 pounds, so it's strictly for kids. Compared to the KORIMEFA, you lose the gyro rotor, but you gain a more upright, ergonomic riding position that might be more comfortable for a kid who just wants to ride to school and do occasional hops. It's a reliable, budget-friendly choice that balances safety with the excitement of freestyle aesthetics. Do your kids use their bikes more for transportation or for trying out tricks in the driveway? Let's chat about it. This is the ultimate value pick for parents who want a cool-looking bike that doesn't sacrifice the practical features. 2. 67i Boys BMX Bike. The 67i Boys BMX Bike is a rugged, no-nonsense, transitional bicycle that feels incredibly sturdy. One of the biggest advantages this bike has over the JOYSTAR is the dual U-brake system. Most budget bikes use basic calipers, but U-brakes offer a lower profile and much more consistent stopping power, which is exactly what a 10-year-old needs when they start gaining speed. In a side-by-side comparison with the HILAND, the 67i is much more understated. It doesn't have the flashy oil-slick paint or mag wheels, but it focuses on a heavy-duty chassis and multi-terrain 2.09-inch tires. These tires are puncture-resistant and offer great grip on both pavement and light gravel trails. However, because it uses a solid iron fork and steel frame, it is quite heavy, which might make bunny hops a bit of a challenge for a smaller 8-year-old, but is perfectly fine for a sturdy 10-year-old. It doesn't include a 360-degree gyro or pegs, so it's not a trick bike right out of the box like the WEIZE or KORIMEFA, but it is a fantastic platform for street riding and basic hops. The quick-adjust seat post is a lifesaver for growing kids, ensuring a perfect fit as they get taller. I'm curious, do you prefer a bike that comes with all the trick accessories, or do you like to buy them separately as your kid improves? Let me know. It's a high-value investment for active outdoor play and a great choice for parents seeking a sturdy, well-braked bicycle. 1. BGGFNZ 20-inch Kids Bike. Taking the #1 spot for the best all-around 10-year-old BMX is the BGGFNZ 20-inch Kids Bike. What makes this the winner? It's all about the weight. At just 25 pounds, this is the lightest bike on our list, which makes an astronomical difference in how a child handles the bike. While the WEIZE and HILAND are stunt-ready but heavy, the BGGFNZ uses a thickened carbon steel frame that manages to be both strong and incredibly maneuverable. When you compare this to the Mongoose Legion, The BGGFNZ is much more approachable for a beginner because of its low-sloping frame geometry, which lowers the center of gravity and makes it easier to balance. It features highly sensitive front and rear caliper brakes and a soft, waterproof leather saddle that stays comfortable for long rides. While it's BMX-inspired rather than a dedicated skatepark tool, it uses one-piece cranks and plastic pedals. It offers the best value for 90% of kids who want the BMX look for daily exercise and neighborhood exploration. It even comes with a kickstand. Compared to the 67i, it's much easier to steer and ride uphill due to that weight advantage. It's the perfect blend of style, safety, and lightweight performance. Which of these features is the most important for your kid? The weight, the brakes, or the look? I want to hear your thoughts. This bike delivers exactly what a growing rider needs to enjoy their time on two wheels without being weighed down by unnecessary bulk. The outro. Choosing the right BMX for a 10-year-old is all about balancing weight, safety, and those must-have trick features. Whether you want the heavy-duty stunt capability of the WEIZE or the feather-light maneuverability of the BGGFNZ, there is a perfect ride on this list for every kid. Don't forget that all the links are in the description below so you can check the current prices and availability. If this breakdown helped you figure out which bike is heading to your garage next, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more deep dives into the best gear for your family. What's the first trick your kid wants to learn? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you in the next one.